much for joining us. We move on to our next story, where the United Nations has voiced strong concern over Germany's plan to deport Afghan nationals directly to Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. The UN Refugee Agency, otherwise known as the UNHCR, warned that Afghanistan remains deeply unsafe and returning individuals there could put lives at risk, especially those of women, minorities and vulnerable groups. The agency urged Germany to adhere to international obligations, stressing that deportations must not take place to countries where people face serious harm or lack of protection. Germany's proposal comes amid growing debate over national security and migration in the country. But the United Nations has called for alternative solutions that respect human rights. Let's take a listen in to the UNHRC spokesperson today.
It is not appropriate to return people to Afghanistan. We have been documenting continuing human rights violations in Afghanistan, particularly violations of the rights of women and girls who have effectively been rendered invisible, who have been stripped of their voices, of their rights to employment, to education, to freedom of movement. But we've also continued to document other instances of human rights violations, including executions that have been carried out. So indeed, it is not appropriate to be talking about returning people to Afghanistan at this point.
Now we move on. We stay in South Asia, where today the Pakistan army announced that it had killed 30 terrorists attempting to cross the border from Afghanistan in the past 3 days. These terrorists are believed to be affiliated with the Pakistan Taliban or similar groups, were targeted in North Waziristan, a region near the Afghan border. The operation came just days after a suicide attack claimed by a faction of the Pakistan Taliban that killed 16 Pakistani soldiers in the same area. However, the military statement emphasized the professionalism and vigilance of security forces, highlighting their preparedness in preventing a potentially catastrophic infiltration. A significant cache of weapons, ammunition and explosives were also recovered during the operation. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has condemned the security forces for thwarting the infiltration attempt, praising their swift and decisive action. Meanwhile, the Pakistani government also accused India of backing the terrorists, a recurring allegation in the tense relationship between the two countries. Not only India, but Pakistan has similarly blamed Afghanistan for allowing terrorist groups to operate from its territory, adding fuel to the long-standing regional tensions. This latest incident underscores the volatile security situation in Pakistan's border regions, with terrorists exploiting porous borders and ongoing geopolitical strife. For our next story, we move over to the United States, where immigration authorities have arrested former boxing champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and are planning to deport him. The 39-year-old, who is married to a US citizen, was detained at his home in Studio City following an investigation by Homeland Security. Chavez, the son of Mexican boxing legend Julio Cesar Chavez, was found to be in the US illegally after allegedly making fraudulent statements on his permanent residence application. This news comes just days after Chavez lost a high-profile match against Jake Paul in Anaheim, California, in a unanimous decision. Chavez's lawyer has called the allegations outrageous, and we will bring you more on that developing story as we get it.